is the first Eliza Archery Podcast. We have Hamish Thompson joining us from Western Australia. Some of Hamish's credentials include winning the Twin City Halloween shoot back in 2000 and... What year was it, Hamish?
Oh, one of the early ones. I think it was about 2014.
2014 Halloween shoot champion. What a pleasure it is to have you on. We also
You'll
have...
get caught up in the local newspaper every now and then.
We also have Richard Morgan, one of the top 100 ranked 3D shooters in Victoria. Thanks for joining us, Richard.
Glad to be here.
And not to brag, but myself, 2-time national clout champion, but, no big deal. So, on this podcast, we thought we'd start off by talking a little bit about youth nationals, as Hamish will be manager for Western Australia, if that's correct.
Yep, that's right.
So how's your preparation been going for that one, Hamish?
It's been going well. I put my name in the ring, put my hat in the ring, sorry, a couple of months ago, and Archery WA gave me the opportunity to lead the team at Youth Nationals. In preparation, just sort of sorting out everyone's flights and accommodations, making sure they're all going to the right spot at the right time. And yeah, a lot of the kids' parents aren't going, so having that leadership role, I suppose they're a lot more comfortable sending their kids to the other side of the country.
Cool. Do you think they're going to win? Is WA going to come first?
I know we're going to win.
Oh, that's very confident. Okay.
Yeah.
Recurve and Compound?
And Longbow.
And Longbow. All right. Another division that
Yep.
you're going to add on. You're going to lobby for that, are you?
Uh-huh.
Excellent.
I
Okay.
support it. There's also going to be a team manager wrestling match at the end to crown the ultimate team manager. It's not official, of course, but it's happening.
Will tickets be available?
No, but it will be live streamed on Facebook.
Oh, I hear that Heartland Forge will be live streaming it.
Yeah, it will. Richard, Heartland Forge is actually funding my flights over, so shout out to Richard.
What a great bloke. Simply fantastic.
Oh. Bet you're going to get the Tiger Airs, alright? Tiger Air. Oh, boy.
So aside from booking flights and stuff, what have you actually had to do for that role?
I've made up some documents, just equipment checklists, so that every archer can write down their whole setup. And I've just got an overview of what they're shooting, what equipment I can bring in case of any equipment contingency over there. As well as that, just like making sure everyone's aware of the schedule. Knowing where to be every day, what to bring. If they're new to competition, then sort of put their nerves at ease to flying interstate with archery equipment. Just that sort of stuff.
So are there any favourites from, well, not just WA, but I mean, I've kind of out of it now because I'm not allowed to go to youth nationals anymore. A bit old, even though I keep somehow going back. Who do you think's going to win?
Oh, we've got some very strong competitors in all categories. We've got Darnie Lilly in the cadet male compound.
Sorry, can you please pronounce his last name as well?
No, I can't.
Fair enough, carry on.
He's shooting very well, eager to qualify for Youth Worlds later this year, as well as Jai Francis. We've got who else have we had? Got Liam Boyle in the 20 and under male compound. He's a veteran of the Youth Nationals team. So I'd be eager to see how he matches up against some interstate competition I know is very strong. And we've got some young blokes as well, young girls and guys, just dotted around the place. Yvonne Borsches from Yeah, Perth Metro is a very strong recurve shooter, and I haven't seen her shoot before. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing the whole team out there.
Sensing a bit of WA favouritism going on here. Yep. You feel free to mention anyone from any other states, but
No, I don't think I will.
no, that's the only ones you'll think that'll win. Just WA.
Yep.
Good. All right. Excellent. Well,
Some categories that we don't have any answers in. We're still going to take them out.
Well, that's confidence. Confidence is key. That's good to see. Good to see that going into an event. And I hope that you carry them their water at the right times and make sure that you don't get them all driven to the wrong place at the wrong times or anything. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
I plan on buying one, maybe two 24 packs of waters once I'm over there. Maybe back snakes if Archery WA funds that.
2 24 packs of water.
Sorry?
2 24 packs. That's, if my math is correct, that's 48 bottles of water.
Is it? Hold on.
Goodness me.
No, I got that as well.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's a lot of water. Wow, you're really you're putting all the effort into this, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, they got to drink. They got to rehydrate after all the winning they'll be doing.
All the winning.
Yeah. Of course, it is a youth competition with Archery Australia, so there will be no underage consumption of alcohol at all. I just want to state that from the start. And
what better person to enforce it than someone like yourself? All right, thanks. Thanks.
You can count on me. I'll be keeping an eye on the pub the whole time, making sure no one comes in or out.
I don't doubt that at all. All right, so Richard, now it's a funny story about Richard. How many compound bows have you owned in your life, Richard?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Would it be double digits?
Give us a number. It probably would be around the 15 mark, I'd say, maybe. Goodness me.
Right. How many do you own now?
Compound bows?
Yep.
0.
0. All right.
Well, that's a lie. I own one for Levi.
Uh-huh.
Technically, I own one. Levi? Levi is my son, the Australian Levi Morgan. So,
who bought Levi the bow?
That would be Alec of Eliza Archery.
Oh,
what a top bloke he was.
What a top bloke indeed. What a great godfather. It's amazing.
Who named Levi? That would be me and the mother. Who gave them the idea to name Levi? That would be us.
Yeah, I think Sarah came up with it, I believe.
She was just happy with it because the records show that it was in fact Hamish Thompson that gave them the idea. Anyway, continue.
So, Richard, can I just ask why you've owned 15 compound bows and now do not have one? What's the story there?
Well, I'm a person who tends to shoot a lot, so I had a time where I was really big on shooting and I developed some target panic, which I did not seem to be able to get over. So I, instead of working on it like I could have, I just sold them all instead. So that was the fun story behind that.
So you're saying your fix for target panic is to sell your bows?
Well, I don't have compound target panic anymore, so you tell me.
This is groundbreaking right here. I'm so glad we're covering this. I'm just on the phone to a publisher now. We're going to get this out there to the community. This is breaking stuff. Wow. Target panic, sell your bows. Well, in that case, I wouldn't have any long bows or bare bows left, but I like the idea. So, having shot so many bows, what, in your perspective, was the best high-end and the best budget bow or brand that you shot with?
I'll start with the low-end stuff. So, I feel like what he asked, but anyway. Sorry? Not really what he asked, but go on. Well, the best budget one. So, I found the Diamond Infinite Edge was a good one.
Uh-huh.
So, being very suitable to many beginners and, well, many archers in general.
You blew one of those up, didn't you?
I sure did.
I just wanted to mention that. You can carry on now.
That's a story for another podcast, if someone mentions it. But yeah, so for the price, I found it was a good shooting bow. All the qualities I was after were there, so definitely did the job at the time for me. So that was definitely a good purchase. High end, well, yeah, more high end bows were probably. I really enjoyed the Bowtech Prodigy. I kind of missed that bow.
Didn't you have that for like a week?
Yeah, it was a bit longer, but it wasn't super long. It was long enough to know I liked it.
Was that a shoot through?
No.
Okay.
That was just a normal rider.
The one with 3 cams.
With what?
It's got 3 cams.
Well, I've got the one cam that's got 3 different settings on the module, so, you know.
Settings?
I wouldn't accept.
I thought it had 3 cams.
No, it's got the one cam with 3 settings.
What do the settings do? Is it just like smoothness?
So there's a comfort setting, so it's not as hard on the back wall, and it gives you a bit more comfort, a bit more valley. Then there's the normal setting, and then there's the performance setting, which is, I can relate the performance setting to kind of like the spiral cams on the Hoyts. Gives that sort of nice solid back feel, a bit more speed out of it. But yeah, it's just good having the option to change to and from what you want to. So that was definitely a good bow. And after that, it'd probably be the Hoyt Spider 34. They were a nice bow. I very much enjoyed that one. Especially seeing it was a hunting bow, but once you start shooting target scores with it, even at 50 metres, I was still up there with the target bows. So having a bow that could do both if you needed it to was definitely an advantage. Yeah, so they're my couple options, just throwing it out there. I haven't tried many of the newer 2018, 2019 models, so I can't say for those ones. But yeah, for the ones I've tried, it'd be the Bowtech Prodigy or the Hoyt Spider.
Did you ever have a PSE?
I had a PSE Brute and a Bow Madness. They were good. Definitely enjoyed the PSE. I wouldn't mind getting one of the new ones again, but I could say that for all the brands, so that's sort of no help there. But yeah, the Stinger I haven't had, but I've shot, and that's definitely a good value bow as well. If you head down to Eliza Archery and Seaford, they've got some. You can check them out.
Good man, good man.
But,
that's a pretty obvious plug.
We'll try and seamlessly weave the next plugs in there a little more discreetly.
Well, yeah, so that's my take on the bows. So, Alec, what have you been up to today?
What have I been up to?
Yes.
Well, I woke up at 4 a.m, did a 40-mile run. And then
Huh? Wasn't that yesterday?
No, then I actually woke up. I was in a dream at that point. Then I actually woke up at 8:30. Just working. Yeah, working at the shop, selling some arrows, some bow cases.
And how's it all going down there now that you're being names being put out a bit more and you're a bit more established in the community?
Oh, it's getting there. We get pretty busy on weekends now, which is good. We had... What did I do today? Oh, we tried to build... You know those release trainer device things?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a grip and put a TheraBand through it and tied a D-loop on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he punched himself in the face because the D-loop came off. So, still working on that one. Yeah, I'll probably just not be tight and buy a Kmart TheraBand and just buy an actual shot trainer, I think would be a better option. But that's what I learned from today. So,
Good lesson to learn.
yeah, thankfully I didn't punch myself in the face. I was happy it was someone else. Yeah, because I have done that before in the
Haven't
face.
we all?
Yeah, have you done that, Hamish?
What?
Have you punched yourself in the face with a release aid before?
Not that I recall. I've been punched in the face.
By a release aid?
No,
Oh.
by another person.
Did you want to share that story or?
Anyway, not overly.
So you've never had a D-loop break or a release go off early?
No.
Oh,
You don't shoot enough then.
yeah.
I suppose not.
Well, I look forward to seeing you next time and shaving your D-loop down till it's just a thread. And then seeing you punch yourself in the face and join the rest of us.
Well, I don't know what to say to that.
Thank you will suffice.
So, Alec, what's been your best archery experience since you started?
My best archery experience.
Pretty
Yes.
broad question.
Wow.
Wow.
You know, like whether it be a world championship, the Olympics, even just shooting with your friends. What's been the highlight of your archery career so far?
I feel like one of those was heavily hinted more than the others.
Oh, it's just what came to mind, which I thought you'd probably pick, so I thought I'd just mention it.
This isn't on the script. We're going off road now.
Was it the time you won gold at the Olympics?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
sorry.
We
You
lasted
can cut that bit out.
16 minutes before we got there. Anyway, thank you, Richard, for that question. It's great to be doing the podcast with you. I believe it's just the two of us on this one. My archery experience. Going to jail wasn't a highlight. I have to put that out there. That's down the bottom of my list of favourite experiences. Don't know. Pancakes and turkey are pretty good.
Why did you go to jail?
Why did I go to jail? Long story. I don't think we have time for it on this podcast.
Well, you've got plenty of time.
I don't think we have plenty of time. Love to talk about it. Not going to. Maybe for another time.
For all the listeners, if you'd like to hear that story, give us a shout out, give Alec a mention, tell him you want him to tell everyone the story.
I'd like to hear the story.
So before we started this podcast, Hamish and I kind of agreed we were just going to do one take and not edit it, and I'm thoroughly regretting that now. Probably should have thought that one through a little bit more. I don't know what my favourite experience is. I don't know. They all just kind of blur into one after a while. You just shoot a lot of arrows. I still reckon 3D is the most fun. Like, out of all the comps.
Instead of being so broad, the question, what was your favourite 3D experience or competition?
Well, I haven't shot that many of them. They had an indoor one at this range that used to exist called the Bullseye Lounge. They had indoor 3D, which is pretty sweet. And I remember shooting one of the invitational things there, and they had a zombie round at the end where they'd like turn the lights on and have a zombie at a distance, and you had to shoot it within 20 seconds or something, and the light went out. My experience with that was I didn't realise when the light was on was when you meant to shoot it. I thought that was when you range it, and then they come back on again. So I just stood there staring for like the first minute, and then one of the guys was like, "Dude, you meant to shoot him." It's like, "Oh crap!" And then yeah, that happened. So
do you have to shoot in the dark, or did they turn the light back on for you?
no, once they turn the light off, you can't shoot it. I was getting ready to just fling some arrows into the dark and see what happens, but they said that was against the rules and safety or something. I don't know. I would really like to see. I mean, I haven't shot that many 3Ds, but to see the stuff they do in the States where they shoot the 14 rings and the 12 rings and stuff. I reckon with that, bump the entry fees up a bit so there's some prize money. I'd start going to some more of those shoots. That'd be good.
It would be good to see like an Australian version of the Reading tournament, as you mentioned.
I just like the idea of not always shooting the middle, like being able to actually take a risk and gunning for a 14 and that kind of stuff.
It doesn't make it more funner.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like in recurve. I mean, high-level recurve is a bit different, but, not that national stuff's not high-level, but, stuff that domestically is shot. Normally, if you're shooting a 70-metre round or whatever, and you shoot some low 50s or whatever, and your score drops a bit, if you put down a 59 or a 60 or something, you can kind of claw your way back up. But then in compound, everyone's shooting 59s and 60s anyway, so it's kind of, you just hope you don't stuff up too badly, because 700 or 710 is kind of the norm. Whereas in 3D, you can kind of drop a 5 or, have a bad shot and still gun for some 14s.
Yeah.
It's like, on the JVD targets, they have that little mini logo in the top corner.
Yeah.
It's like if they said that was worth 100 points. And you missed a target and you just go, stuff it, I'm just going to put my next 10 arrows at this corner and try and hit that little target to try and get 100.
It is a lot nicer having an option whether or not you want to shoot safe and try and go for a 10 or a 12, or try and get the lead by going for the 14 with risking a 5. So it's good how your face can change with one arrow, and everyone's got to try and judge what they think is going to be the safest way to get more points.
Yeah, I reckon it's a much better, and it's big in the States as well. It really should be bigger over here, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not that involved with 3D AAA and stuff, but I think if they had, I know people have been trying it, but even just your normal local 3D shoots, kind of bringing in that, I don't know, if they have a pro division or even just for MBO, putting the 14 ring in play, just for that division.
A couple ones around here have started doing the pro divisions, which I thought is a great idea.
But does that include the 14 ring?
I'm not 100% sure. I knew the one at Twin City Archers the other weekend did have a pro division.
Okay.
Not sure what was involved in it, as I was busy at work, so I couldn't attend. But I'll hopefully be doing more 3D shoots in the next year or so if I can get some time off. But until then, it's just fun following along, seeing who's doing what, who's improving. So keeping an eye on the competition, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd shoot a lot more 3Ds if they had some contingency and some 14 rings in play. I reckon that'd be cool, because that's why people shoot target and shoot match play and stuff, because it's kind of a bit more pressure, and like a finals match is more fun than shooting a 144 arrow feed around, and 3D is that one arrow pressured shot thing.
It's like as you mentioned. I mean, in target, when people are shooting 59 and 60s, it's kind of hard to change it up. But when 3D, when it comes down to one arrow, it can make or break it. Definitely puts the pressure on a bit more. Yeah,
definitely. So we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm kind of out of the 3D thing, but eventually I'll get some 3D targets at the shop and do some indoor stuff. Put a rabbit at 40 metres with a 14 ring on its face or something cool. Mix it up.
It would be good to see more local shops, if they've got the space for it, has more options to introduce the 3D as a sport. Because I feel like it's an underappreciated aspect of our archery in Australia, due to just not being well enough known for people to try and shoot it. Like me personally, 3D is my favourite kind of archery. Mostly because it gives you more freedom of what you can do. Outdoors and everything changes. Just a lot more aspects to it that I enjoy over standing there for 6 hours on a shooting line, shooting the same target for 144 arrows.
Yeah, but for shops and things, the shops aren't normally big enough to be able to hold one. And there's only, what have we got in Victoria? We've got three commercial indoor ranges. 3? Yeah, 3. No, 4. 4 commercial indoor ranges. And I don't know any other state that has one, but I guess we're lucky in Victoria to have that, so it'd be cool to have more indoor 3D. So something else I was going to try and do this last week. Oh, sorry, did you want to say something, Hamish?
No, I just have a timer going off. Continue.
Thank you. I was going to look at this last week, but I forgot. So when you have cheap arrows. Have you shot predators before, Richard?
I have currently got a couple left out of my last set. I find them a good arrow for the money, just for obviously not for high-end target, but just for basic sort of local club shooting or even sort of entry-level hunting. I find them decent arrows.
Yeah, but see, so what I was wondering is if you get a dozen, so like for indoor out of my compound and my recurve, I shoot X23s, so they're the high-end Eastern aluminiums. If I got a dozen of them versus, say, I got, I don't know, a dozen predators, fletch them properly and put feathers and stuff on them and put a heavy point and that in them, I reckon that within a dozen predators, if I pick the 3 best arrows, surely the tolerances would be close enough that I wouldn't notice.
I'd agree with that, especially if you was only doing indoor at 18 metres. I feel like the distance isn't enough to sort of affect the sort of tight tolerances that most outdoor arrows need.
I reckon almost out to 50. I reckon outdoor too.
I reckon you could probably get away with it. I haven't personally tested it enough to have enough of an opinion on that. But I reckon that, yeah, for most level archers, even setting the arrows up right, the tolerances should be good enough to be able to do well at those distances.
Yeah, well, there's lots of like members at my shop and stuff shooting 280s and 290s and stuff with compound with predators, and they're fairly new. Well, not new, but they haven't been shooting regularly for that long. So it makes you wonder. I don't know. One day I'll try it. Just get a dozen predators, pick the best 3, and see how they go. And even your power flights and stuff like that too. What were you hunting with, Hamish?
Mostly I hunt with Eastern Axis.
Didn't you have a cheaper set?
I used to shoot Carbon Storms.
Oh,
which
that's right.
Very similar to what are they? Power Flight.
Yeah.
And they were good. They flew pretty true at 50 metres, shooting long shots on rabbits and foxes. And I do recall shooting indoor 50 metres, just a target round, 36 arrows, and scoring 347, 348, I think.
Really?
So they're definitely good arrows. And if you set them up properly, then yeah, sky's the limit.
Wait, you shot that with your hunting bow and Carbon Storms?
Yep. 6 pins.
What was your score? 48?
348, I think.
Right, well that...
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that kind of proves it though. So you've shot a hunting setup with arrows that cost $10 each.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wonder, like in archery, with the amount of money you spend, like you can justify it between sights and most bows and things, but the difference in arrows, unless you're talking like small diameter and cutting through wind and stuff like that, as far as actual just outright performance goes, I think you can get away with a cheap arrow.
I'd agree. I think at longer distances, sort of, I guess, past 50, when you're shooting 70 or 90 in a full feeder or similar rounds, it definitely makes a difference having tighter tolerances and smaller diameter and heavier point weight for that. That change in FSC. But I guess I haven't experimented a whole lot with the cheaper hunting arrows or cheaper target arrows even at those longer distances yet.
But do you reckon that'd just be wind that would make them worse?
What was that?
Would you reckon it would just be wind? So say you had a 100-metre indoor range and you shot them at 90, like you shot a set of Carbon Storms or Predators versus a set of Pro Tours, no wind, conditions are fine. Like, do you reckon you'd actually see much difference?
I feel like it would. Yeah, I suppose then it would just come down to the spine consistency and the straightness and how they choose your bow and the weight tolerances. And I'm sure if they're all within sort of one grain and 10,000th of an inch, then yeah, for sure they can be excellent.
Because, I mean, you could buy... I mean, not that they're a cheap arrow, but they're a mid-range arrow, like a set of Carbon 1s. You could buy 3 dozen Carbon 1s for the price of a dozen X10s. And then if you took your best dozen out of those, if you actually spine tested them, you'd probably get pretty similar results, I reckon.
Yeah, for sure. I shot carbon ones for a couple of years, and I was super impressed by them.
Mm.
Well, I feel like once you start getting up to that sort of range of arrow choice, it's more down to the archer themselves, because all the arrows are going to have roughly the same amount of tolerances, but over the longer ranges, like at the 100 metres indoor, for example, the tighter tolerance arrow is going to be better for the more experienced archers because they're going to be more forgiving, whereas obviously the less tolerant ones are going to sort of vary a bit more.
But does tighter tolerances make them forgiving?
I would say so, because then they're less likely to try to think of a good way to explain this, but yeah. Well, it's kind of like bows these days, I feel, that like they're all at a point where they all do the same job. It's just down to the person behind it now.
Yeah, but if you got 3 dozen carbon ones and picked the best dozen versus a dozen X10s out of the box, the tolerances between them would surely be pretty much the same.
I'd say so. They'd be close enough to that I feel like you would notice enough of a difference to make it sort of worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've ended up with 3 dozen arrows rather than a dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's...
I think when Richard talks about having that higher level of forgiveness at longer distances, I guess I interpret that as having that confidence that all your arrows are as close to each other as you can get them. So if you've got a shot way out of your group or where you aimed at, you know that it's not the equipment, it's not the arrow at least, that it's something else. It's your form or your follow through or your bow even.
But if you've been through the 3 dozen and hand picked and spine tested and weighed them and done all that, and you knew they were all the same, wouldn't that give you that same level of confidence too?
Yeah, it would. But yeah, it's just calling out that variable of are my arrows as accurate as I can get them? Are they tuned to my bow as well as I can do?
Well, I feel like it's as well as trying to be the best of what you can get. Because even though if you get all of the same arrows, same tolerances that are really good, the next like level up for the say the X10s is always going to be that bit better tolerance of them. So I feel like there's that doubt in their mind. It's like we'd rather get the next level, like the best of the best. They'll go to the same tolerance, and you know that they're going to work. Because then there's just that mind factor as well, as you were saying, that like if you think your equipment's the best, you know it's going to perform well, so then you'll shoot your best.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, exactly that.
Because I mean, on a recurve, if you've got an X10 is going to be better performing because it is designed, like the back half is designed to flex, and that can help you, with imperfect releases and tuning and stuff like that. But out of a compound, even with a barreled shaft or a parallel shaft, it's pretty much, it's coming off of a loop. There's not much you can do to actually affect the release that badly. It just comes down to tolerances. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to actually test.
The X10 Pro Tour at least has that tapered, thicker end at the barrel shaft. No, barreled is thicker in the middle and tapered towards each end.
I'm thinking of the other X10s. Never mind.
Just the standard X10s, yeah.
New Eastern Pro comps are just straight parallel, I think, as far as I know.
The new arrows?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they're meant to be a high-end target arrow, aren't they?
Yeah, I've heard good things about them. Steve Anderson, I think medaled, maybe won World Field with the prototype Pro Tours. Prototype Pro Comp.
Field, I believe.
Yeah.
But that's what happened with their Pro... Was it Pro Fields they brought out? And
yeah, that's the ones, yeah.
And then they disappeared. So it's, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I want to actually test... I guess 18 metres isn't really fair, but maybe out to 50, just run 36 or 72 arrows through with some cheap $10, $12 arrows versus a set of Pro Tours. Dead still conditions and see what difference you actually get.
Well, I feel like to test
the closer the tolerance the arrows are, say, like you said, for carbon 1s versus the X10s, you really need to push the distance to sort of find out what they can do, because at 100 metres, you'd obviously see a difference between good tolerant arrows and bad ones.
Mm.
So, yeah, I feel like a test like that, you need to do it at a further distance just to sort of get the extreme end of the comparison.
True. Well, I can